Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's simply Grace Miria. If you're new here, my name is Grace. I'm a nurse who recently relocated from Kenya to come and work here in the UK. I live here with my family. So guys, today we are going to be talking about the documents that you need in order for you to apply for your UK work visa. And guys, just a disclaimer, I'm not an immigration officer. I don't deal with anything to do with visas. So this information, I basically got it from my family, friends, and just did some research from the internet. The UK uses a point-based system in order for them to issue you a visa. So that includes your ability to speak in English. It includes your skills. It also includes your education, how far you've gone in your education, maybe up to degree level, up to master's, PhD, or maybe you've got only a certificate. And it also includes your salary level, the salary that your employer here in the UK is offering. So they've got to do everything in point based, and maybe if you've got this and this skill, for example, I'm a nurse, going to be having this salary, then there's a point there that they put for me, another point there that they put for me. So if all those points, they generalize and it reaches up to a certain level, that's when they're going to be issuing you visa. The first and foremost thing, you need to have a passport before you even start thinking of migrating to come to the UK. Because I say this because you find that there's some countries that the passport takes a lot of time to come. For example, in my country, I come from Kenya, there's a period where you find that the passport takes a long time before you receive it. And I'll just give a good example. Like a family member of mine just applied for his passport, then it took quite some time for it to come. So if you don't have this passport, definitely, and there's an opportunity that is open for you to come to the UK, you see now you're going to be missing out on this opportunity. So it's good to just have a passport. In case of anything, then you're able to just do the other process very fast, then you come. Because you never know how long your passport it might take. You might be lucky, your passport might take a short time to come, and not be lucky, it takes a long time to come. So passport is the first and foremost thing before you start. If you're just thinking about immigration, think about passport. And in your passport, if you've been having your passport for quite some time, just make sure that your passport is valid. It's very neat and stored very well. Make sure it's got a space in it to put your visa and maybe for the stamp. So the second most thing that you need to be thinking about is a job. And depending on your job or whatever work visa you need to come with, there are those work visas that you are going to definitely need a certificate of sponsorship. You need a certificate of sponsorship because in this certificate of sponsorship, we've got the reference number. This reference number is the number that you're going to be needing when you're applying your visa. So you have to be thinking about your certificate of sponsorship, who is going to be sponsoring you. And when you go to the UK government, you can see there's a place on the website, you can see that sponsors they are there. So in case you have, like in these cases where we've got people giving out fake certificate of sponsorship, you can just go online and try to find out this sponsor, if a genuine person or not. And also in your certificate of sponsorship, whatever is needed is also your job title. They look at your job title there. They also look at your salary. Remember earlier I talked about a point-based system. They will also look at your title. For example, I'm a nurse, I'm a registered nurse, and they will look up about the annual salary that I'm supposed to be getting, because they've put out the minimum salary that you need here when you're staying here, so that you're able to take care of yourself, take care of your rent, your bills, and everything. Because if you're getting lower than the expected salary, then there's no way you're going to be able to survive here without maybe accessing public funds, or without maybe doing other jobs that are not on your occupational code, or whatever job or whatever your COS states you need to do. So the next thing that is in your certificate of sponsorship is also an job occupational code that I've already said. There are different job occupational code. You can also look at the occupational codes there in the internet, and you'll be able to see which occupational code you fall into. So this certificate of sponsorship contains all these details that are needed in order for the UK immigration to give you the visa. So the third thing that you will need is your knowledge of English. So in this, it depends on which country you come from. So there are, in most countries, like from where I come from, you're going to be needing your knowledge of English. You have to prove to the UK government that you're able to read in English, you're able to speak in English, you're able to understand whatever people are speaking in English, that you're able to write in English. So you need to prove these 4 things, and in proving these things, you can either do your IELTS English test, or you can either do your OET English test, or there are different ways you can prove your English. If you have a degree certificate, good for you, because what you are going to need is just the ECTIS certificate. This ECTIS certificate is basically to confirm that whatever degree you did in your country, it was done in English. It's more or less the same. That is what they need before they issue you the visa. So the 4th thing you will need is your TB certificate, and in this also it depends with the country that you're coming from. These things, because they're all of these things is what I needed before I was issued my skilled worker visa here in the UK. So I needed my TB certificate, and in this it depends in the country that you come from, because there are those countries that don't need a TB certificate, there are those countries that definitely require a TB certificate. So if just check online and make sure that the country that you're coming from, if it requires the TB certificate, then you have to do the test so that they can issue you the certificate before you acquire your visa. Then the 5th thing is your criminal record certificate, also known as the police clearance. You also need the certificate, and you make sure that the certificate is valid. It's definitely valid, because they need to know your criminal records back at home. And also, if you've been to other different countries, then there's a way that you are going to need to prove when you are in those countries you did not commit any crime, and if you did any crime, then they need to know you've stayed there for more than 12 months. The 6th thing is evidence of funds, unless it's stated in your certificate of sponsorship that your sponsor is going to be taking care of your needs the first few weeks or months that you're coming in the UK. So for example, in my COS, when I was given my COS, it stated there that my sponsor is going to be taking care of some of my needs when I'm here for the first 3 months. Well, I can't remember if it stated 3 months, but it just stated that my employer is going to be supporting me in some other things there. So I did not need to prove, I did not need to give any bank statements, I did not need to give any evidence that I've got money on me in order for them to give me a visa. So unless it's stated in your certificate of sponsorship, if you're coming with one that your sponsor is going to be taking care of some of your needs when you come here, please make sure that you have evidence of funds. Then some of the other things that you're going to be needing is also your certificates, but from back home. So whatever I've just stated earlier are the most important things that you need to be looking at. You apply your visa, and then they're going to be letting you exactly what you need to give out. Then there's some other additional things that you need to be giving out, like your academic certificate. For example, I gave out my diploma certificate, I gave out my certificate from Nursing Council. I also gave out my certificate from when I was in high school. I gave out my computer training certificate, and also the certificate that I've acquired during my training. Other relevant things that they needed, I just uploaded there. So all these documents that I've stated here are not limited. There are other things that you also need to be giving out, and be sure to find out what exact documents, other documents that you need, because they're not limited to what only that I've said here. So guys, that is all for this video. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. I love you guys. Like, share, comment there, let us chat there. Thank you so much. Goodbye.